Hello, Dai here from TypeScript Softworks. In this video I'm going to do a playthrough of the fourth mission, which is Officer Down. And the reason I'm doing this is that a number of people have reported difficulty in completing this mission due to the presence of a survivalist gunner. Before going any further, I'm just going to take a quick look at what I've got going into the mission. So I've got a basic armour, and I've upgraded it using this button to have enhanced firearm resistance. You can see it's 10% firearm resistance, and I've done this because the survivalists will generally lean towards ranged combat. I've got a couple of trauma kit Mark II, and I've got an IED Mark I, and that's pretty much all I've got. Character's just level 2, so it's not he's not extremely high level. If you are having trouble with the mission, you could try and level up if you get up to level 3, it would give both you and Amelia DeSoto an additional level, which should make things a little bit easier. And this is something I've recently added. Now it hasn't been I haven't uploaded the build that this new feature has been added in yet, but I hope to over the next couple of days. And I won't go into too much detail yet. I'll make a development video on it. But it basically allows you to reposition based on your bypass skill. So in some levels it may have a bigger impact, so whether you want to get closer to the enemies if you're a melee character, if you want to maybe move into cover if you're a ranged character. So I'll try it anyway, and I've passed this, so I'm just going to move in a little closer, and I don't think there's any necessary advantage to moving her. So the survivalist gunner will be the first person to act generally in this mission. And I'm going to move Sam, who's a melee fighter, just up to cover here by the wall. So the reason why the survivalist gunner is a problem is primarily he does have higher stats, but he also has an SMG, which is it could potentially cause a lot of damage. It can maybe do about 15 to 20 damage in a single turn if he hits you if you're unlucky and he hits you with each attack. Now this hasn't gone quite as well as I hoped it would. I think I'm possibly just going to sit here for another turn, or maybe just pull back one more tile to make it a little harder for him to hit me. I just don't want to give him line of sight yet. I want him to come around the corner, and I'm basically going to launch into a melee attack on him then. So I'm just going to end Sam's turn, and so there's not a great chance to hit from here, so I'm just going to move up to here. So he's more likely, he didn't have enough basically to use his SMG there. So I've got him in a fairly good position now. I can have 75% chance to hit him, and it will take about 4 to 5 hits to bring him down. The one thing I could potentially think about doing here is I could throw some smoke, and that might actually encourage him to use hand-to-hand rather than to use the SMG. Now the problem with this is that the character is not going to be very reliable doing this, so it could actually work against me. If I throw it on the enemies, it's going to make it harder to hit them, to shoot them, so I'll try it anyway. And that's not the worst possible outcome. So the characters these 3 characters will be harder to hit with ranged combat now, but it should be okay. It should be the same to hit this character here. So I'll just take a shot at him and end the turn. Now, so basically this character has kind of sort of calculated now that there's not really I have a better chance of doing damage here by using melee combat, so that has sort of made him less of a threat by using smoke just to start off with. Okay, so as you can see, the effect of the smoke is there's an 8% lower chance to hit, and this character is also a little further away, so it might be more like a 10% chance to hit. And I'm just going to take a shot at this guy. So basically by throwing the smoke, I've kind of forced this guy to fight on my terms rather than him shooting at me. I forced him into melee combat, or made it more appealing for him to use melee combat, and since Sam is a pretty good melee character, it's kind of playing to my advantage to use smoke. And that's him. He's definitely the biggest threat, and that's him dealt with now. If you're playing as a ranged character, depending on your weapon, you'd probably be as well to try and keep him at a distance, because the SMG has an accuracy penalty compared to most other firearms, so it's not going to really perform that well. Melee against an SMG character is obviously pretty risky, but using smoke can help to mitigate some of that risk. And the smoke's gone now, and that's okay. Ranged combat is a little it's unreliable, I guess, at this stage of the game. Now the reason for that is that if every character can hit everything very early on in the game, there's really nowhere for them to go later on. It just makes it too, if it's just too early to hit early on, there's not going to be very much progression. So it has to be something the characters have to, to build up their aim to get that high level of reliability with range combat. It's something I may look at rebalancing based on how I feel about it and feedback. So the survivalist, in that case, he opted for close combat there because survivalists have more AP than many of the other characters, so they can actually make 2 unarmed attacks per turn. And his weapon wasn't as good as the gunner. And that's pretty much that level complete. I hope this has been of some use, and I would expect that the next alpha should be available probably within a week, just depending on how much I try to do with it. So I hope you'll stay tuned for the next alpha update, and thank you for watching.